Alright, fourth graders, today we are going to be learning how to use the place value section of multiplication when multiplying two digits by one digit. So in the last video we talked that multiplication is just repeated addition. So today we're going to learn one of the two strategies that we are going to teach you for multiplying. Alright, fourth graders, so I'm going to show you how we're going to multiply 26 by 3 using the place value section model. So what you're going to do, we're going to start off by drawing a rectangle. So when we draw a rectangle, we are going to also draw one line here. So first we are going to break our 26 up by place value. So think about this like expanded form. So I have 20, which is going to go here, and then I have a 6 left in the ones place that's going to go here. Now, I over here have a 3. That 3 is going to go on the side. Then we're thinking about this like area, we're going to multiply. So I have 3 times 20. So I know 3 times 2 is 6, but I still have a 0 left, so I need to add that 0 in. So 3 times 20 is 60. We're only looking at this square here first. Then I'm going to go to the next spot, and I have 3 times 6. And I know that 3 times 6 is 18. So I'm going to put 18 here. Now, what do I need to do next? I need to add my 60 plus 18. Now I kind of ran out of room, so I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that I can add these together. So 8 plus 0 is 8, 6 plus 1 is 7. So 26 times 3 equals 78. Now, I went through that pretty quickly, and now we're going to practice multiplying with zeros. So as you notice on the last slide, you had to multiply 20 times 3, and it's much easier to do 3 times 2 than 20 times 3 in your head. So when you're multiplying with zeros, all you're going to do is ignore the 0 at first. You're going to drop the 0, and then you're just going to multiply the numbers that are there. So we know 6 times 3 is 18, but I have to add that 0 back in, so it's 180. Okay, so I'm going to show you over here too. I'm going to drop the zeros. I'm just going to do 2 times 1, which is 2. And I crossed out 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, so I'm going to add 4 zeros back on. 1, 2, 3, 4. So much easier way. 200 times 100 is 20,000. On the next slide, you're going to get to practice some on your own. Alright, here I want you to pause your video and get out your math journal. In your math journal, I want you to do all of these problems. Practice multiplying with zeros. So go ahead and pause your video. Alright, now that you're back, I'm going to show you how we did these. So on this number 1, we are going to cross out the 0 and 30, cross out the 0 and 70. So I'm going to do 7 times 3, which we know is 21, and I have to add 2 zeros back on. So my answer to 30 plus 70 is 2,100. Alright, let's go to number 2. I'm going to drop my zeros, so cross out my 2 zeros. I'm going to do 4 times 2, which we know is 8, and I'm going to add my 2 zeros back in. So 400 times 2 is 800. Then I'm going to go to my number 3. This one I have 3 zeros. I have 2 here and 1 here. 9 times 6 equals 54. And I have to add 1, 2, 3 zeros back on. 1, 2, 3. So my answer to 900 times 60 is 54,000. Alright, our last one that you should have already done in your journal. I have 1 0. So I know that 5 times 8 is 40. Now this one is a little tricky. This 0 right here doesn't count as my 0 that I'm adding back on. So I still need to add on one more 0. So 50 plus 8 is 400. Be careful. Now if I would have had 40, 50 times 8 is 40 doesn't really make sense. So then we would know that I still need to add one more 0. So we're always making sure that our answers make sense. Alright, so now that we practiced multiplying with zeros, I'm going to show you a couple more examples of the place value section model with 2 by 1. So right here I have 64 times 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break apart that 64 like an expanded in place values. So 60, I'm going to draw my line, and 4. So just like expanded form, we have 60 plus 4 equals 64. And then on this other side, we're going to put an 8. So in this box right here, we are going to do 60 plus 8, or I'm sorry, 60 times 8. So we know 6 times 8 is 48, but we have a 0 right here, so we're going to put a 0. So 60 times 8 is 480. Now we're going to go to the next box. The next box we have over here, 8 times 4. We know that 8 times 4, oops, sorry, erase that. We know that 8 times 4 is equal to 32. So now I need to add 480 plus 32. So we'll go ahead and do this in yellow. So 0 plus 2 is 2. 8 plus 3 is 11. And then bring that down. So our answer is 512. So that is 64 times 8 equals 512. Alright, so let's do one more example together. So down here, I have 82 times 3. So again, I have to break apart that 82 into place values. So I have 80, and then I have 2, because we know 80 plus 2 in expanded form equals 82. And then I'm left with a 3, which I need to put on the side. Then I'm going to do 80 times 3, but really I can just do 8 times 3, which we know equals 24. I have a 0, so I need to add that 0 back in. So 80 times 3 equals 240. Now I am left with 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Now I need to add 240 plus 6, which is equal to 246. So now it's your turn to practice. On the next slide, I'm going to put up some examples that I want you to do in your math journal. Alright, 4th graders, so here is where I want you to pause your video and complete these 2 multiplication problems using the place value method that I just taught you. In class tomorrow, we're going to be working with the place value section model along with the traditional model that you learned last year. Remember, both of these models you get to choose. You don't have to. You can pick one or the other, whichever way is easier for you. And we'll continue to work on multiplication throughout this unit.